What's up, traders? Welcome to today's live synthetic trading section. My name is Vetexx, and today we are going to be breaking down the synthetic market in real time, okay, step by step, using pure technical analysis. And if you are new to this channel, make sure you like the stream, subscribe, and most importantly, join my Telegram channel because that's where I'll be dropping most of the updates for you guys. Okay, so let's head straight into the charts. Let's see what the market has to show us today. Okay, so pay close attention, follow everything I'm going to be showing step by step. If you're having any question, you can always ask in the comment section and I will do well to answer that. So let's go straight to the chart right now. I'm going to share my screen with you right now, live and direct, so you see everything. So today we have 14 pairs on our watch list that we're going to be analyzing. Okay, 14 good pairs on our watch list that we're going to be analyzing. All right, so pay close attention and let's learn together today. Okay, first of all, we are analyzing both the volatility index and step index. Okay, so the first analysis is volatility 31 index. Okay, and like I always said, before we do any analysis, we always do what they call the top-down analysis. Okay, whereby we look for price, where price is coming from, and where price is going to, just like following the trend. Okay, direction, the starting point of the price, and then the end point of the price, where it's coming from and where it's going to. So first of all, we start with top-down analysis. And like I always said, if you are new to this channel, you can always go to my watch list, my playlist, where I understand, where I teach advanced market structure. That is basically the the strategy, the trading model we use on this daily life analysis, because I stream every day, repeating the same thing every day. So what we do here is that we analyze the synthetic market together, and then we look for trade that is ready for the day. We take it, we make money. The days that they really show up, we'll see, analyze, and check if there's something good on the chart. Okay, so first of all, we are going to be starting top-down analysis from V30 We check from the higher time frame to the lower time frame. Higher time frame I used to start from, we often use the weekly time frame to know the direction of the trend. All right. From the weekly time frame, go to the daily time frame. From the daily time frame, go to the 4 hour time frame, 1 hour time frame, and then we'll look for our continuation setup on the 15 minutes time frame. Okay. So if this is your first time of watching, of joining the live, this is what we always do every day. Now, the trading model, the advanced market structure, this is what we always look for. Okay, first of all, we have our sweep up, we have a high here, we have price sweeping this liquidity. Okay, we always have the liquidity at this point. Let me start over. We have price creating this higher high here, and then we have liquidity taking it out. Okay, once liquidity taking it out, this is considered as our structural liquidity, and this high will become our protected high. And then we have price breaking out this structure to give us our second break of structure, and then we have price retracing back 50% into this zone to give us our structural liquidity, so that price will take this liquidity back in order for it to move to the opposite direction. And then we have price breaking out this structure to give us our second break of structure, and then we have price going into this zone, taking out this structural liquidity so that it will move to the opposite direction. So this is basically what we do every day. This is basically what we do every day. This is our A plus setup trading model that we trade every day. Now we have our sweep here, which is called the transactional liquidity, which is used for correction. And then we have our protected high here, and then we have our first break of structure, which is this, and then we have our structural liquidity, which is used for continuation. This structural liquidity is what fuel this move down here when price cut into this point of interest, and then we have our second break. Now, for our type 1 model to have this two break of structure, this is what make it A plus setup. Okay, and on this daily live stream, you're always focusing on taking A plus setup. You're always focusing on quality over the quantity. That is why we always look out for A plus setup, and then this zone becomes your point of interest. All right. So when you see this pattern, you trade it with logic. But the most important thing is this is the pattern we always look out for. And then when price comes to this zone, it drop. That is why top down analysis is important, because you might see this pattern and price might not respect it. The reason is because maybe you don't know where the price was coming from, where it's going to. Price might be bearish, but you want to be bullish, and that is going to make this not to respect your analysis. Okay, so this is basically what we are looking for every single day. We look out for this at the higher time frame, then we scale down to the lower time frame, look out for this as our continuation, and then we'll take a trade on the 15 minutes or on the 30 minutes time frame. All right, so now let's move on to V31s. If we are going to see the same thing on V31s, so the same thing you have for sell here is the same thing you're going to have when you switch to buy. Okay, the same thing you're going to see when you switch to buy. Now let's look at let's analyze V31s and see if the market has something for us here. So first of all, on the weekly time frame, you won't find any structure like this on V31s. You will not find any structure like this on V31s. So now what do? We'll go to the 24-hour time frame and check if we see this type of structure. Okay, now as you can see clearly, we have our sweep of liquidity here. We have our protected high here, and then we have our first break of structure. After the first break of structure, we have price retrace 50% to give us our structural liquidity, because this was supposed to be our structural liquidity, but it was taken out by this. So this now becomes our new structural liquidity. Okay, and this zone becomes our POI. Our price needs to take out and start moving to the opposite direction. And this is our second break. So this makes this 24-hour time frame POI to be A plus. Okay, this is what makes it to be A plus. Now we'll go down to the 4-hour time frame if we see a continuation from there, because we cannot take trade on the 24-hour time frame. On the 4-hour time frame, what can you see? Okay, on the 4-hour time frame, we have this. We have a sweep of liquidity here. This is our protected high. This is the protected high we have, and then we have our structural liquidity right here. Sorry, we have our structural liquidity here, and then we have our second break of structure, which is this. This is our first break. So this was make this 4-hour continuation to be A plus. All right. Now this is our POI. So price will tap into this POI and start selling to the opposite direction. Now this is the starting point. This right here is the starting point. Starting point here, and then we have the finish point, which is down below here. So once price tap into this zone, which is the starting point here, this is where it's going to be the finish point on the 4-hour time frame. So price is going to sell from here all the way from here to this finish point. Okay, so once price tap into this zone on the 4-hour time frame, what is the next thing for you to do? The next thing for you to do now is to start is to switch to the 50 minutes time frame. Then you start looking for your continuation setup. The same type of pattern you look out for on the higher time frame is what you start looking out for on the 50 minutes time frame. Okay, as you can see this clearly, if price break this structure like this is the 50 minutes time frame. Anticipating this to happen, something like this, then wait for price to come into this POI and sell off. So we'll be anticipating this move. Okay, so we'll be anticipating this move for price to break this low here and then return back to take out this structural liquidity and continue to the opposite direction. But until then, we'll be sitting on our heads and see what VTTS has for us. So currently there's no continuation, there's no setup on VTTS, but it's bearish on the 24-hour and it's bearish on the 4-hour. So we'll move on to the next setup, the next pair. Next pair we have on our list here is V is step 500 index. Step 500 index. So let's check step 500 index out. On the weekly time frame, the 500 index is bearish. Okay, so it has something like this on the weekly time frame. It has something like this on the weekly time frame. Something like this. On the weekly time frame of the 500, you'll see something like this. That means it's bearish on the weekly time frame, but Deriv trading view doesn't show up to weekly. The only place we can stop is at the daily. So step 500 index on the weekly time frame is bearish, and then this is the finish point on the weekly time frame. So if you switch down from the weekly time frame to the daily time frame, you won't see a continuation. But if you go to the 4-hour time frame, you will see a continuation on the 4-hour time frame, which is this. I think this is clear enough for you to see. You can easily spot the sweep, the first break, the protected high, your sweep of your structural liquidity, your second break of structure, which make it A plus setup, and then your point of interest. This is your starting point, and then this is the finish point. So we have a continuation on the 4-hour time frame. And on this 4-hour time frame, once you know that the price is reacting from a point of interest, and then you know the starting point and you know the finish point. Okay, you scale down to the 15 minutes time frame or the 30 minutes time frame for your continuation. So I'll go to the 15 minutes time frame. If you can find the same pattern on the 15 minutes time frame. So currently you can see there is nothing on the 15 minutes time frame. Just that we have this continuation that smashed TP yesterday, which I share with the community. So for those of you that take it, congratulations to you. So we have this continuation. Let me quickly rush through it and show you. So price gave us a sweep of liquidity, protected high, structural liquidity, first break. We have our second break here, and then we have our point of interest. So when price tap into this point of interest, it sold to the opposite direction. This was our initial TP. Price took our initial TP out and then it reversed back. But if you're in this trade, you should be able to close around somewhere here. So this was what happened. Yes, this was what happened. So this was a trade we took live in the community. So currently there's nothing on step 500, but we'll be on the lookout in case we see our continuation. So the next pair on my list is V75 1S. We'll start from the daily. On the weekly time frame, V75 1S is just it has a bearish trend, but on the 24-hour time frame, you can clearly see a sweep here, sweep of liquidity. You can clearly see our protected high, and then we have first break of structure. You see price retrace back into the zone to give us our structural liquidity, 50%, to give us our structural liquidity, which is this. This structural liquidity is what price need to come back to into the zone, take it out, and then continue to the opposite direction. And after the structural liquidity, price bring out this low, this newly low that it created, giving us our second break of structure. And then the whole of this zone is now our point of interest. So as price tapping here, it's going to sell down to this opposite direction. So this is our starting point, and down below here is going to be our finish point. Now we'll scale down to the 4-hour time frame. If you see a continuation setup, on the 4-hour time frame, we can't really see anything on the 4-hour time frame. Okay, there's no continuation on the 4-hour time frame on V75 1S. We only have this. We only have a continuation around here that just smashed this target. So we won't be considering that at the moment. We look out for more opportunities on other pairs. Okay, it has taken out this target. Give us a 4-hour continuation, but it has taken out the target. So what do we do now? It's wait for more 4-hour continuation because we already know the direction on the 24-hour and the finish point is still very much far. Okay, this is the finish point. So before price come here, we should be expecting a 4-hour continuation. I want to give us that continuation. We'll scale down to the 15 minutes, which is the lower time frame, to look for our entry. All right. So we'll go to the next pair, which is step 100 index. So currently we've checked V31 as volatility 30, step 500, and V75 finals, but we haven't seen anything yet. So the next on our watch list now is going to be step index. The step 100 index is bearish on the weekly time frame and it has just smashed its target. So there's nothing currently on the weekly time frame, just that it has a bearish trend. And the next time frame we are going to go to is 24-hour. And if you see the 24-hour, you can't really see anything because the candles are small. Then we'll go to the 4-hour time frame if you are going to see something tangible on the 4-hour time frame. So on the 4-hour time frame, you can see that we have a sweep of liquidity around here. We have sweep of liquidity. We have our first break of structure, which is this, and then we have price retrace 50% to give us our structural liquidity. Remember, price retrace back into the zone to give you structural liquidity. It must be nothing less than 50%. Okay, so you can always use your Fibonacci retracement to check for it. And this is our protected high. This gives us our second break of structure, which makes this 4-hour time frame an A plus continuation. Now, this zone becomes our point of interest. So we are expecting this price we're expecting this price to come to this zone on this 4-hour zone. Then we look out for continuation on the 15 minutes time frame. So this is what we'll be expecting on the 15 minutes time frame. We're anticipating a continuation on the 15 minutes time frame like this, so that we can be able to take more trade. So if price tap into this zone on the 4-hour time frame, once price tap into this zone on the 4-hour time frame, is going to give us up to 3 to 4 continuation before taking out this initial target on the lower time frame. This initial target on the 4-hour time frame. So what we do is that once price tap into our zone on the 4-hour time frame, we don't take any trade on the 4-hour time frame because of drawdown. So what we do is go to the lower time frame so that we can take more continuation. So currently there is no continuation on step 100 index. We don't have a setup there, and we'll move on to the next pair on our list, which is V volatility 10x. So this is your first time of joining this live synthetic trading session. All you have to do is join our Telegram community so that you don't miss out on our daily updates, and don't forget to subscribe to this channel so that you don't miss out on our daily live analysis. All right, so we'll go to V10s. V10s on the weekly time frame is bearish. On the weekly time frame is bullish, but then we have a strong retracement on the 24-hour time frame. What is going to happen is that we'll be anticipating a move on the 4-hour time frame because there's no close POI around this point for price to react to, and price will retrace back into the point of interest again on the weekly time frame. So what we're anticipating is on the 4-hour time frame, possibly something like this is what we're anticipating on the 4-hour time frame. So we're anticipating price to break this high here, give us 50% retracement, break the second one to give us our first break of structure, and then we anticipate price to come into this zone, then start giving us our continuation on the 15 minutes time frame so that we'll be able to take more continuation. So this is what I'm anticipating on the 4 hour time frame on VTNS. Possibly if it does this fine, but if it doesn't, we will sit on our hands and then we'll wait for it to do it. So this is it. Once price do this on the 4 hour time frame, we'll go to the 15 minutes time frame to look at for the same pattern. And once price, when we spot the same pattern on the 15 minutes or on the 10 minutes or on the 5 minutes, we wait for price to come into our point of interest, then we can execute on our trade. Okay. Remember, the protected high, the protected low is always going to be your stop loss. Protected low or high is going to be your stop loss point, and then the next high below is going to be your take profit level. You can set your take profit level to be at 1 to 2, 1 to 3, 1 to 4, whichever one you like. For me personally, I set my take profit level to around 1 to 3 and 1 to 4. So currently, there is nothing on V10S. So we move on to the next pair, which is volatility 100. Okay, on V100 on the weekly time frame, V100 it just has bearish trend, and we'll move to the daily time frame if we see something. So on the daily time frame, what do we see on V100S? On V100, we have our sweep of liquidity here. We have our protected high here. We have our first break of structure. On the first break of structure, we have price retrace 50% to give us our structural liquidity. And then on there we have our second break of structure, which is this. And then this entire point is our point of interest. So what are we anticipating? We're anticipating price to tap into this zone, okay, give us a continuation on the 4 hour time frame or the 1 hour time frame. Then we'll scale down to the 15 minutes time frame to look for our entry. All right. And this right here, this from starting from this zone is our starting point, and below this low here is going to be our finish point. So we start look for continuation until price take out this target, and we'll be done with V100. So currently this is what I'm anticipating. Price to tap into this zone on the higher time frame, give us a continuation on the 4 hour or 1 hour time frame, then we scale down to the lower time frame for execution. Okay. Now, the next pair on our list we're going to be checking out is V75, Volatility 75 Index. So we start from the 24-hour time frame, because if you go to the weekly time frame, it's on a bearish trend. So we start from the 24-hour time frame and check if we'll see something tangible. So there's nothing clearly showing on the 24-hour time frame. So what do? We go to the 4 hour time frame and check if there's something on the 4 hour time frame. On the 4 hour time frame, there's nothing clearly still on the 4 hour time frame. We only have this continuation that just smashes targets currently on the 4 hour time frame, which is this. First break, second break, and then point of interest. Price tap into the zone and then continue to target. So from this zone to display, let's check if we see a continuation on the 15 minutes time frame. Let's check if we've missed any trade or we didn't miss any trade. This is supposed to be a continuation, but the only problem we had with this was price has been oversold already. Okay, there's something called the premium zone and the discount zone. Okay, when price got to a certain point, for you to be on the safe side, you just need to avoid taking trade on that point. Okay, so this was supposed to be a very good trade, but because of it has reached, it has been oversold already. We just sit on our hands and then we wait for another higher time frame structure to form. So this was supposed to be a trade we should have taken. So price give us a sweep here, give us our protected high, first break of structure, price retrace 50% to give us our structural liquidity, and then it break the low to give us our second break of structure, and it's tap into the point of interest and currently is pushing to the opposite direction. So you can decide to put your entry depending on the confirmation you use. I've thought about confirmation before. So if you check my watch list, you see where I talked about confirmation entry. There are different ways of confirmation entry. My confirmation entry might not be the same you use. So whatever confirmation you use, once price tap into this point of interest, you look out for your confirmation and you execute. Okay. So this is what the price did on V75 index. But this is a trade we wouldn't have taken on a normal day. But yes, it respects the structure and it's going well. The next pair we are going to be analyzing is step 300. Step 300. Okay, so step 300 will start from the weekly time frame. Weekly time frame is on a bearish trend. So what do? We go to the 24-hour time frame and check if there's something happening on the 24-hour time frame. On the 24-hour time frame, we can't really see anything. Yesterday we were seeing something, but I got to realize that the 24-hour time frame you're using supposed to be for 4-hour time frame. So let's go to the 4-hour time frame if we see something. So on the 4-hour time frame, there is nothing currently. This was supposed to be a continuation here, but it was invalidated because it was a type 2 setup. It has just one break, which was this. So we didn't consider it and price still didn't respect it. So we look out for where price is coming from currently. Currently, we can't see where price is coming from. And one thing we shouldn't do is trying to force uh, where price is coming from when you are doing your top-down analysis. So since we didn't see anything on say 300 index, we'll sit on our hands and wait until price forms something tangible for us. Then we can be able to start taking continuation on step 300. So the next we are going to be checking is volatility 50 index. So we'll start from the 24-hour time frame as usual. Start from the 24-hour time frame and check if there's something on the 24-hour time frame on V50. So on the 24-hour time frame, on the weekly time frame is on a bearish trend. On the 24-hour time frame, price is respecting our structure on the 24-hour time frame. So clearly you can see there is a sweep of liquidity here. It is the transactional liquidity used for what? Used for correction. And then we have this protected high somewhere here. Price give us our first break of structure, which was this. Price retraced 50% to give us our structural liquidity used for continuation, which was this. And then price break the low, the newly created low, to give us our second break of structure, which was this. And then the whole of this zone is our point of interest, which was this. And as price tap into this zone, it starts pushing to the opposite direction. Starting point and finish point. Okay, this below here is our finish point. Now that we know where price is coming from on the 24-hour time frame and where price is going to on the 24-hour time frame. The next thing for us to do is to switch to the 4-hour time frame and see if you are going to see a continuation there. And if you didn't see, and if there's anyone forming, we'll anticipate it. So currently, we have clearly we have sweep of liquidity on the 4-hour time frame. Then we have a protected high here. This becomes our first break of structure. Price retraced 50% to give us our structural liquidity, which was this. And then this is our second break of structure. This gives us our second break of structure. Yeah. And then this point is going to be our point of interest. So as price comes to this point of interest, you tap into the point of interest on the 4-hour time frame and then is sold to the opposite direction. You can clearly see now that price has taken out its target. So this is of no use to us currently because price respected the structure and is sold to the opposite direction. So currently V50 index has smashed TP. So we don't have anything on this now. If price nearly tap into this zone on the 4-hour time frame, on the 1-hour time frame, we would have scaled down to 15 minutes time frame and be anticipating a 15-minute continuation. But currently price has already done what it's supposed to do, and now we wait for price to form another higher time frame structure, which is the 4-hour time frame or the 1-hour time frame, and then we wait for price to tap into our POI, give us the continuation and set to the opposite direction. But until then, we'll sit on our hands, and when it's formed, we'll start looking for continuation because there are other opportunities lining up. So the next we are going to be checking out is V100S volatility 100x. That's what we are going to be checking out right now. Okay, so on the weekly time frame, volatility 100s is bearish, sorry, is bullish. Okay, and on the daily time frame, we can't see any move on the daily time frame. So what do we do once we didn't see any move on the daily time frame? We'll go down to the 4-hour time frame if we see a continuation on the 4-hour time frame. And currently, nothing is happening on the 4-hour time frame. Okay, we only had this continuation that just played out some days ago. If you can look at it clearly, we have sweep of liquidity, we have protected low, we have price retrace 50% to give us our structural liquidity, and we have price coming to the zone to take out the structural liquidity so that it will continue to the opposite direction, which was this. Okay, so those of you that can't see clearly, this is what I'm trying to say. This is it, and this right here, we have this right here. Back here, this zone here is our sweep of liquidity. So this is our first break, this is our second break, and then price tap into the zone and then smashes its target, which is this, which was this. Okay, so this was what price did. Tap into the target, continue to the opposite direction, and smash its target. Now, what we look out for next is this. I'm anticipating this since yesterday. Hopefully, it do what you want it to do. So we have sweep of liquidity here. We have our first break of structure. We have price retrace 50% to give us our structural liquidity. So we are anticipating this price to break to the opposite direction like this, and then do it in, and come back to this zone. Okay, once you come back to this, so that is what I'm anticipating currently. Hopefully it does that, but if it doesn't, we'll still be sitting on our hands and then watch out for what it's going to do next. So currently there's no continuation, there's no setup on the 101s. The next pair to look at is volatility 15 index. That's the next on our watch list, volatility 15 index. So starting from the daily time frame, on the weekly time frame, it's on the bearish trend. So from there, we go to the daily time frame and check what's happening on the daily time frame. So on the daily time frame, we can't really see anything here. We are just seeing series of lower low, lower high, lower low, lower high on the daily time frame. So since we can't see anything, we'll go to the 4 hour time frame and check if there's anything on the 4 hour time frame. So on the 4 hour time frame, we have a sweep of liquidity. If you have been following me, you will know that this is a sweep of liquidity, and this right here is a protected high. From here, we have our price retrace 50% to give us our structural liquidity to be taken out and then continue to the opposite direction. And this this right here is our first break of structure. This here is our second break of structure, which makes it an A plus continuation, an A plus setup on. You can call the 4 hour time frame a setup, a structure, and then the lower time frame a setup. So we can say this is our A plus structure on the 4 hour time frame. Now this is our point of interest. So what do? We anticipate price to come into this zone and continue to the opposite direction, of which price has done that. And then here is our finish point. This is our starting point and this is our finish point. So what do we do now? We'll go to the 15 minutes time frame to look for setup. Remember, the daily time frame, the weekly time frame, the 4 hour time frame, these are called structure. Then the 15 minutes time frame, 10 minutes, 5 minutes, we can call that our setup. So we don't mix the two together because this one's a higher time frame. Okay. If you come to the 15 minutes time frame, you'll notice that there's nothing really happening on the 15 minutes time frame yet, unless we have this, unless we can consider this. Okay. All right. This right here, we have a sweep of liquidity here, and then we have our first break of structure, which is this. Is our second break of structure, which is this. That's after price has given us our structural liquidity, which is this. And then this is our protected high. It's our protected high. So let's go down to the 5 minutes time frame to look out for something. If this price is what you are going to be taking, I will okay, the setup is not actually valid because it is a mitigated POI. Okay, as time goes on, I'm going to be explaining for you why we need to avoid some setup, even if it meets all our criteria, and why we need to still take some when it meets our criteria, especially when price doesn't meet our criteria. There's always a reason behind everything. That is why most of the time, a lot of people take pattern over logic. Me and you might be trading the same type of trading model. We have same trading model. You are taking losses, but I'm taking win. There's always a reason for that. Okay, there's always a reason for that. That's why we have people trade pattern, people trade logic over pattern, because when you start trading pattern, you don't see the other thing behind why you're taking that losses. So the most important thing for you is understand that there's something called pattern, there's something called logic. You may be trading the same pattern, but the logic behind why I take some trade and why I didn't take some trade is already known to me. So this is something that most of the time you should always look out for. That is why it's always good to journal your trade if you're a trader. Always try to journal your trade and then make sure you are showing up every day. There are a lot of things for you to discover in trading. You don't completely learn everything 1 year or 2 years and then you don't learn again. Every day the market will always show you something new to learn. So the next thing on my list is going to be volatility 25s. So on the volatility 25x, it will start our analysis from the weekly time frame. On the weekly time frame, price is on a bullish trend, just creating series of higher high, higher low, higher high, higher low. So on the 24-hour time frame, we can't really see anything yet at this point. So let's go to the 4-hour time frame if price will give us our continuation. Okay, we've been anticipating this for days now, which is price giving us our sweep of liquidity here, giving us our protected low here, and then price giving us our protected low here. So price after sweeping the liquidity, it gives us our protected low and is moved back to create the newly created high, giving us our second break of structure, which was this. And then we have price retracing back 50% to give us our structural liquidity, and price moving backwards to break the newly created high to give us our second break of structure, which is this. So the next thing now is that this whole zone is our point of interest. So on this point of interest, this is what we're anticipating price to do on the 4-hour time frame. So this 4-hour time frame is a structure. So once price come into this 4-hour time frame structure, this POI, what you are going to do is scale down to the 15 minutes time frame and start looking for continuation setup on the 15 minutes time frame. So this same thing you look out for on the 4-hour time frame, the same thing you look out for on the 15 minutes time frame. And when price tap into your POI on the 15 minutes time frame, you look out for your continuation, you look out for your confirmation entry. Okay, you can study confirmation entry, but to help yourself faster, you go to the watch list, check the advanced market structure on this channel, and then look out for confirmation entry. It's going to break the whole thing easier for you, and then you have quick understanding of confirmation entry. And there are other traders that have explained confirmation entry. You can also study that. And also, the initial confirmation entry you use for your execution is still going to work here regardless. Okay, so this is what you anticipate on the volatility 25-1 index. So if price hasn't given us what we are looking for, so we are going to just uh, sit on our heads until price does that. Then we'll move on to the next. Okay, I'll be updating. That's why if you are joining live here, make sure you are in the Telegram community. Else you are missing out on a whole lot of things. And don't forget to share this live on your WhatsApp status every day. You can share it on Instagram, you can share it on Facebook, you can share it on your WhatsApp. So that other of your friends can join. Okay. We'll take the same trade together. And if you are here, the only broker you can see all those pairs I'm analyzing is on the Deriv synthetic broker. The link for you to sign up is in the description of this video. And I'm also going to drop it in the comment section so that you can easily find it. The sign up, they have fast deposit and withdrawal, and the market is always open 247. And don't forget to like this uh, live session and subscribe so that other people can also see it. So we'll move to the next pair on our list, which is step 200 index. So on the step 200 index, what do we have today on the step 200 index? We'll start from the weekly time frame. The weekly time frame is bearish, and the weekly time frame has been bearish, but it just took out its target on the weekly time frame. So there is nothing happening currently on the 24-hour time frame. So we'll go to the 4-hour time frame if we can anticipate any move there later on. Okay, the only move we can anticipate is we only have this on the 24-hour time on the 4-hour time frame, which is this. We have our sweep of liquidity right here. We have protected high here, price giving us a protected high here. Then we have price retrace 50% to give us our structural liquidity. This liquidity is what price will take out to continue to the opposite direction. And then we have our second break of structure. Sorry, I didn't mark the first break. So this is our first break of structure, second break of structure. This makes it a type 1 setup, which is A plus setup. So price is expected to come into this zone and this 4-hour structure and start giving us a continuation setup on the 15 minutes time frame. Okay, so we wait for a reversal to happen any moment from now. So until then, we'll sit on our hands and be watching for what is going to happen next. So currently there's nothing on the step 200 index. It's just moving aggressively to the downside, which says it's bearish. So the next on our list is going to be step 400 index. Let's check what step 400 index has for us today. So starting from the 24-hour time frame, what do we see? What can you see on step 400? Step 400 has been bearish for months now. It has been bearish for months now. So let's check the 24-hour time frame. There is nothing happening on the 24-hour time frame. So we'll go to the 4-hour time frame and check if there's something on the 4-hour time frame. So on the 4-hour time frame, what do we see? The 4-hour time frame, we are supposed to anticipate a continuation here. We've been anticipating a continuation here, but unfortunately, price has taken out our protected high, which makes it to be, which makes price to be invalidated. This is actually a weak out, so it's still going to be considered likely. It's still likely going to be still valid if price didn't reject more than this again. It keep rejecting from this point, but if you take it high up to 20% body or 30% body, then it's no longer considered to be an it's no longer considered to be a setup anymore. So this is our sweep here. Then this is our protected high. Then we have our first break of structure, which is this. This is our sweep structural liquidity that price needs to take out. Price has already taken it out, and price give us our this is price giving us our second break of structure. So this is first break of structure. This is our sweep of liquidity, protected high, first break of structure, second break of structure, and then price need to continue to the opposite direction. But like I said, if price break out this high and like more than 20% body or 30% body, we will have to cancel this continuation. It's no longer going to be valid. Okay. Now this is our starting point, and then this is going to be our finish point. This starting point right here, and then this zone down here is going to be our finish point. So this is a 4-hour time frame structure. So once price start rejecting, we'll scale down to the 15 minutes and start looking for continuation setup on the 15 minutes. Okay, that's what we are going to start doing. But until then, we'll be on the lookout on step 400. So the next we're looking at is at volatility 51s. Volatility 51s. Okay, that's what we'll be looking at. On the weekly time frame, price was bullish, and if you check your MT5 on the weekly time frame, you see that price was bearish, was bullish on the weekly time frame, but you just take out the target. This was the target on the weekly time frame. So if you go to weekly time frame, you will see something like this. Price gave something like this. You have something like this on the weekly time frame. It's our structural liquidity. The weekly time frame. We have our protected low on the weekly. Then we have our sweep of liquidity here. Price give us our first break of structure. This was the first break of structure we had, and then this was the second break of structure we had, and this is our point of interest. So this is what we have on the weekly. And see that price has already taken out the target, which was supposed to be this. Price just take it out. So we are no longer interested in this continuation on the 15 minutes and the weekly time frame. So we'll go to the 4-hour time frame and check if there's anything we can anticipate from there. If there's something we anticipate, good. If there's nothing we anticipate, What we do is to just sit on our hands and wait for it. Yesterday we mark out a structure around here. But let's check the 1 hour time frame if there's something closer, because once you are looking for a 4 hour, 1 hour structure, the best thing for you to do is always go for the recent structure. So you can see clearly that we have our sweep of liquidity here in the 1 hour time frame, which is this. We have our protected low here, which is this. We have our structural liquidity. Price retrace 50% to give us our structural liquidity. And then we have this is our first break of structure. And this right here is our second break of structure. So we anticipate price to retrace back into this POI. Once price retrace back into this POI, we'll be anticipating a continuation setup on the 5 minutes, on the 10 minutes, and on the 15 minutes until price take out the target. So we're sitting on our heads waiting for this price to retrace back into this zone. And once it does that, we'll start executing. Okay, that is what we do basically every day here. So every day on this channel, we take live trade, we analyze the markets live on all the synthetic indices pair. Currently, we are focusing on the step indices and the volatility indices. So if you are here, make sure you don't leave without subscribing, and make sure you turn on your notification, because we stream on this channel every single day. So there's nothing happening on the V51s. We only had a structure on the 1 hour that we are anticipating. So we'll just skip for now. So far, so good. We haven't had any setup. Why? Because we are looking for quality and not quantity. We are looking for A plus setup and not B plus setup. So the next on our list now is volatility 25 index. Okay, starting from the weekly time frame, volatility 25 index is bearish on the weekly time frame. Okay, you know how the structure look like, is bearish on the weekly time frame. So the next time frame will go to 24 hour. Nothing is happening on the 24 hour. So the next time frame will go to is the 4 hour time frame, and check if there's something happening on the 4 hour time frame. You can see clearly, if you have been following me closely, you can see that we have a sweep of liquidity here on the 4 hour time frame. We have a sweep of liquidity on the 4 hour time frame. Hidden Files said, thank you so much. You are welcome, Hidden Files. Now this is a sweep of liquidity. This right here is our protected high, and then this is our first break of structure. Price retrace 50% to give us our structural liquidity, and then this is our second break of structure. Alright, and the whole of this zone becomes our point of interest. This is our starting point, and this is going to be the finish point. This is our 4 hour structure right now. So what do we do next? Okay, what do we do next? We'll go to the 15 minutes time frame to look at for continuation setup on the 15 minutes. If you didn't see on the 15 minutes, check the 10 minutes and see if we'll find what you are looking for. If you check the 15 minutes currently, there's nothing on the 15 minutes. Nothing is happening currently on the 15 minutes. Okay, same with the 10 minutes time frame. I don't go down more than the 10 minutes because the 5 minutes time frame is full of noises. So we'll be looking at for continuation setup on the volatility 25-1 index. And if anyone drop, I will always drop it in the community, or else I will drop it in the community so that those of you that are there, you can join, you can take it. So if you are looking for the link for the community, the link is in the bio and the link is in the description of this video. So the link is always there for you to join. It's very clear. And the next, and not the last but not the least, is volatility 91x. So starting from the weekly time frame, it's on a bearish trend, all right? And from there, we go to the daily time frame and check where price is coming from. Okay, we see that price is bearish on the daily time frame, but the most important thing first is to check out where the price first take out structural liquidity to be selling, or we look out for where price is coming from. So seeing clearly on this time frame, you can see that we have a sweep of liquidity hidden here. This is where price is reacting from, and then we have our protected high, which is here. Then we have our first break of structure, which is this, and then we have price retrace 50% to give us our structural liquidity to be taken out and continue to the opposite direction. And we have our second break of structure, which is this. And also this is our point of interest, which is this. This is our point of interest. So price will take it, tap into this structural liquidity. Once price take out the structural liquidity, it starts selling to the opposite direction. This is on the 24-hour time frame. So now we know that this is the starting point and this is the finish point on the 24-hour time frame. The next thing for us to do is go to the 4-hour time frame and see if there's any continuation on the 4-hour time frame. If price is selling from 4-hour time frame, of course price is selling on the 4-hour time frame. Clearly you can see this is our sweep of liquidity. This is our protected high. This right here is our structural liquidity, 50% retracement to give us our structural liquidity. Price break this low to make it our first break of structure. Price break this newly created low after creating the structural liquidity to give us our second break of structure, which we consider this to be an A plus setup. So the whole of this zone now becomes our point of interest. So price is expected to tap into this zone, of which it has, and then continue to the opposite direction. So what do we do next, which is on the 4-hour time frame? We scale down to the 15 minutes time frame to look for continuation setup. So if you see any continuation on the 15 minutes, we wait for price to tap into our point of interest, and then we can execute on it. So currently we don't have anything on the 15 minutes time frame. So what I'm anticipating currently is price to do this. If it do this and then break this low, then we'll think we have something like this. That's what I'm anticipating V91S to do. That's what I'm anticipating them to do. Once it does this, giving us our first break of structure, our second break of structure, which is this, and then this becomes our point of interest. Okay, we are anticipating price to do this, do this, do this, do this, do this, come into this zone, and then set to the opposite direction. So that is what I'm anticipating it to do. If that happens, I will share it in the community. But if it doesn't, good and fine. We'll still be looking out for a more better opportunity. Right, a more better opportunity. So far so good. We've checked V91S, we've checked V15S, we've checked 31S, we checked step 500, we checked volatility 75 1S, we check step 100, we check V10S, we check V100, we check V75, we check step 300, we check V50, we check V100S, we check V25 1S, we check step 200, step 400, V51S, V25, and so far so good. We don't have any setup yet. We've not gotten any setup yet. So what we are anticipating now is the V25 1S. V25 1S is currently not giving us a continuation, but V25 we can anticipate a continuation on the 15 minutes or on the 10 minutes. Same goes for step 500. So these are the top pairs I'm watching out for. So these top two pairs, If they give any continuation on the 15 minutes time frame, I will share it in the community. So lastly, if you are here to join the community, check the link in the description of this video to join the community and sign up using the broker I use, which is Deriv Synthetic Indices. Sign up, deposit so that we can always trade together, and make sure you turn on the notification button. Share this live stream to your friends and family on your WhatsApp chat so that tomorrow, same time tomorrow, 6 a.m., we'll be here and we'll do more analysis. So the more you join the analysis, the more you learn. And you can also check my playlist. There are a lot of things I teach there. It's going to help you psychologically, every way, to help you grow in your trading journey. So tomorrow I'll see you guys. Don't forget to like, don't forget to subscribe, and peace out. See you tomorrow.